Hey, it's me, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video. So this one's going to be a little more low-key than usual. There's no real heavy editing, no real script. I'm just kind of saying things out loud without really thinking about it. So yeah, after my Kiwami rant video, I got an inkling to go replay Yakuza 2. And while replaying Yakuza 2, I thought, hey, why don't I just no damage all the boss fights? Just beat all the boss fights in the game without taking any damage. Like, I don't know, I haven't really seen many videos on it, so I thought, hey, why not just, do it myself? And why not do it while having no health upgrades? No health upgrades, so yeah. Now, anyways, I'm fighting Daigo here, and yeah, there's no real strategy here. You just kind of beat him to a pulp. He can't really do anything about it. He could try to attack you, but he's kind of hopeless, so oh well. Alright, so here's a very memorable boss fight. So this is Peacock, man. This is the man who you peacock his mom. And, it could be a tough fight if you don't know what you're doing. But if you've played a Yakuza game before, you should be able to handle him with no real trouble or whatever. You definitely want to get the weapon first so that you can get the drop on him. But before you do that, you really want to build your heat up because he is a strong man. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of including like these little nothing battles into the series because if I'm gonna replay all of Yakuza 2, might as well. No one else is gonna do a no damage of the Peacock, man. So yeah, there it is. Alright, here's the big one. Boom, Ryuji, who is actually surprisingly easy. At first he's kind of tough because you can't really attack him. That is very lucky because sometimes he'll just knock you out of it. But here's the thing, Ryuji doesn't really have that much health. So all you have to do is do 2 heat actions, then they'll activate the feel the heat moment, which then will take out more of his health, and then the fight's over. Boom, half of it, feel the heat, and then boom, let's take a third of his health bar. Nice. Now this one's a little challenging, because, he's healing and all that, but soon enough it'll be over. Alright, so now this is one little strat I learned from watching a couple speedruns of Yakuza 2. So, in this area, the tables here can actually one-hit KO enemies if you kick it at them. So, pretty much the ideal strat is just to bunch them all up into one corner and then just, boom, just knock them out like that. I don't know, it's just interesting stuff like that I did not expect Yakuza 2 to have, but hey, it's there. So yeah, a group like this, such a tight space, could be dangerous, but it's good that we got these tables to rely on. Mahjong has caused me a lot of pain in the past, but at the very least, it's brought me something here. Alright, here we go. Here is the Jingu copy. There's quite a lot of those in this game. Now, the thing with these gun enemies is that they're not actually that hard. They're pretty easy to deal with as long as you know what you're doing. You pretty much just have to bait out their gun attack and then just hit them. They're tedious, but they're not hard. However, when they start bunching them up with groups, or when they, God forsaken, they add 2 of them in one room, yeah, then they could be a problem. But on their own, they're pretty easy to deal with. Just keep your distance because they do actually have some melee attacks which come out pretty fast and are not easy to react to. So just in order to beat up this guy, just stay away and oh god, that was a good dodge though. Ooh. But yeah, just keep your distance, bait out the gun attacks, and then retaliate. Alright, now here are the Coliseum fights, and now I'd like to explain another thing I learned from speedruns. Pretty much, the gauntlets may be the most broken weapon in the game, so a fun little thing with Yakuza is that you can stun lock bosses with the gauntlets. How do you do this? Well, very simple. Square, square, triangle. That's it. You could defeat the final boss of the game in less than a minute if you use the gauntlets right. Now here, this guy's AI is a little different, so you can't do the square square triangle spam. However, I did find a neat little trick where if you do square square triangle, then do square square to bait out his big heavy attack, and then dodge that and do square 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 triangle, then you can defeat him easily. However, here he did a little variation of that because he kept guarding it. But he's dead now, so it doesn't really matter. However, you can do the same exact thing with Gary Buster Holmes. Yeah, but yeah, Gary Buster Holmes works similar. Just square, square, triangle, dodge, square, 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 triangle. And, pretty easy fight overall. I do wish Gary Buster Holmes had more fights and also didn't copy the final boss of Yakuza 5 and Kiwami, but, what can you do? Alright, now Majima. This was a bit hard to figure out, however, once I realized how overpowered the Gauntlet's heat action was, it became way simpler than I thought it'd be. So pretty much what you want to do here is don't spam the circle button, just do the heat action, let it play out, and then repeat it over and over. You do way more damage this way. You can do this up to 5 to 6 times, and then boom, look at that, an entire health bar gone without any effort on my part. So another thing that makes the gauntlets extremely overpowered. Another neat detail is that the gauntlet's durability doesn't actually go down if you use it. The only time its durability goes down is when you block with it or when you use its circle attack, which is a little spinning kick, which most of the time you don't really need to use unless you want to hoard iframes. But then again, if you're spamming the square square triangle trick, you won't really need to do that because you'll probably already have the enemy screwed over. But it is very useful against the tigers because we'll get to the tigers later. That's a fight. Alright, so here we go. One of the first group battles of Yakuza 2, and it's kind of painful. I get what they were going for with the constantly respawning enemies. It's oh, the guys into video games, they want to constantly, respawn as minions like they do in the video games, and this is the video game. But it kind of sucks. At the very least, they have really low health, so they're not really a nuisance. Well, I mean, they are a nuisance. They're not an issue, per se. Overall, it's not too bad to deal with, but it can be kind of annoying having to keep track of all the enemies. And also, Kaoru here kind of sucks. Don't get me wrong, she is a huge help in some of the later group fights, but here she constantly gets in the way because, most of these minions you don't really want to deal with. However, she'll be dealing with them, and then she'll get them into a grip. So when you want to do a heat action on, say, one of the boss fights, her grip has has higher priority than the heat action you want to do on the boss. So instead of actually dealing damage to the boss, you'll end up just doing one of her heat actions on some of these minion dudes, and it's just it gets annoying. It actually happens later in my run here. You'll see what I mean. Ooh, a lot of smooth dodging there. Very nice. So, I don't know, this fight's like really whatever. Though I do gotta give Kiwami 2 some credit though. They actually improved this fight because they got rid of the whole respawning gimmick and just made it a group of like 4, which was very much appreciated. Though I don't really appreciate that Kiwami 2 kind of like shrunk the area down and pretty much turned the boss fight into just like one parking lot instead of like this big little circle thing, like kind of like it's kind of got like a train vibe to it, which I really like, which is kind of missing Kiwami 2 sadly. I think that was just because they were copying like Yakuza 6's area and they got rid of this whole little thing because of the whole reconstruction at that point in the series, but since Kiwami 2 didn't take that into account, yeah, we kind of lost it, so, you know, what can you do? Alright, now here is the first Man in Black fight, and yeah, there is a lot to talk about with this guy, but mostly in comparison to his Kiwami 2 rendition, which is awful. Like, I don't know, like, in this original game, he's still awful, but for completely different reasons. Here in OG Yakuza 2, he's awful because he's just an incredibly tedious fight. He blocks every attack you throw at him. Even if you get behind him, you'll find a way to block most of your attacks. Like, it's not really you, like, dodging and then getting strikes in. It's more you praying that, like, one of your hits goes through. Like, it's just an incredible drag of a fight. It's not that hard, but then again, this guy does have some attacks that can, like, sneak through, like, your dodge and all that, which can be very annoying to deal with, especially on no damage. And he definitely has this thing where he keeps dodging your heavy attacks, and that can get in the way like that. However, he's not hard. However, in Kiwami 2, pretty much what happened was, okay, so he blocks all your attacks in Yakuza 2, so they copied that AI into Kiwami 2, but Kiwami 2 changed up how enemy blocks work, where instead of it just being, you know, a nuisance, it's like an actual issue, where like your combo gets broken and the enemy retaliates. So pretty much you take this guy who's always blocking your attacks and put him into Kiwami 2. Every time he blocks your attacks, he retaliates with an attack of his own, meaning that you can't really do anything to him in Kiwami 2. But here, not really much of an issue. Oh no, not this one. Yeah, this fight kind of sucks. So you got these two guys in this small like room, and pretty much what I'm doing here, because I can't really do many combos on them, because if I combo one guy, the other guy will interrupt me. Pretty much what I did there was I'll block to like bait them to grab me, because when they grab me, I'll go into this QTE thing where I can pretty much like deal damage to both of them. And then once I do that, I'll go for like a quick grab for the weapons, because then once I have the weapons, I can actually get some wide area strikes, which can like hit both of them, ideally. But this is like less a strat and more like a mad scramble to survive. There is no real like good consistent way to like deal with these guys. You just have to like pray that you'll like come out on top, that they won't like miraculously hit you sometimes. Like it's not fun. This fight's just terrible. I mean, it's not much better in Kiwami 2 either, because it just copied Kuze and Shibusawa's movesets, which don't work well in Kiwami 2. So that's a shame. However, I did get really lucky here with the double feel the heat moments, dealing that massive damage. Very nice. One detail I like about the fight is how Date's just sitting there. Like, he's just there. I don't know, it's funny. Now here's the one where you gotta beat up your homie the bartender. There's no real strategy in this one because all the enemies are just goons. Like, they're not really any special enemy type. There's no real like AI you gotta worry about. You just pretty much have to beat them up before they land a hit on you. And given that it's a Yakuza game where enemies have really fast strikes, that's gonna be random chance, but it's not like impossible. Especially like with these enemy types. However, there is one strategy I do, and that's grabs. Now grabs, I've always been great in Yakuza because pretty much what they do is not only can you damage other enemies with like the throws you do, but those throws also give you iframes so that if they actually do attack you, you don't actually take the hit. Very nice. Alright, here we go. Here's the fight they ruined in Kiwami 2, but it's actually dope in Yakuza 2. Let's go. So, yeah, this might actually be my favorite fight in the game. Like, I think it's like the perfect blend of like challenge and variety. Because, like, while the final boss, like, may be dope, I don't know, he kind of drags on and on. Like, he doesn't really change up his fighting style, it just kind of stays the same. And while Shindo's like Shindo's the next one. While Shindo's change of environments may be dope, I mean, once again, it's kind of like the same fighting style. While this guy, Hayashi here, he's constantly changing. At first, he's a little bit more swift and you have to deal with him. But then later on, he goes for the pipes because he's a madman. And then here, you gotta switch up your fighting style a bit because now you can't just like dodge around him. You need to actually keep your distance because his pipes have such a wide swing. I, however, take a bit of a strategy where I go for the double hitter. I pretty like you'll see in a bit what I mean. So Hayashi has this telegraphed move where if you attack him from the front too much, he'll just go into this spinning thing. Now this is exactly what I want because once he does that, once he's done with this little spinny thing, you can get behind him and grab him, which means you can easily go for that sweet heat move which does tons of damage. So pretty much in order to bait it, I just do double hits to do that. However, sometimes when you do a double hit, it doesn't really go into that form. So I just do another one until he goes into that form in order to kind of manipulate him to my advantage. And now here I kind of change up my strat because so Hayashi has 3 phases to his fight. The first phase is not too hard to deal with. Pretty much bait his little grab move he does, get behind him, do a full combo. And then once you have heat, get behind him, do a heat action. Very cool. His second phase is this. His third phase, I want to avoid as much as possible because his third phase is his first phase, except he never gets stunned. He has super armor for the entire duration of the fight, and that is hell to deal with. You can't do any combos. You can't really run away from him. However, the only thing you can do when he's in his third phase, which he's entered right now, is grab him and do like some of these moves and probably heat action in order to get him down. Now, what I was doing in the second phase with the pipes, I was lowering his health to such an extent that the heat action would take away most of like his boo health bar, so I wouldn't have to deal with his third phase as much. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get his health bar down to such an extent where the feel the heat action will like try to kill him. I fail at doing this, but I do manage to get most of his health bar down so he doesn't become too much of a nuisance. And now boom, feel the heat. Awesome. But now I'm stuck with third phase Hayashi. Another annoying thing is that he doesn't do his grab moves as much as he did in the first phase, which was kind of important because those grab moves were one of his best openings. Because his combos, you can't really like go into any like combos there. I don't know, like one thing Hayashi does if you don't dodge behind him is that he just blocks most of your attacks. If you just do like combos on him, which you can do without much trouble, he'll just block most of it and you end up having a really dragged out fight. The reason I'm able to do my full combos is because I wait for him to do like the little like grab thing he does, and then when I dodge behind him, I can do the full combo without being interrupted, dealing the most damage possible. Here, however, he goes aggressive, and he goes without... Oh, and this is scary. When you're stuck with him, like in this small little corner, you can't really dodge the attacks. They have such a wide range, and he does not stop. Like, I don't know. He's a lot like Saint Aizawa. Once it gets hot, it does not stop, and that is the perfect descriptor. However, this is a good opening, but be careful, because he can immediately go back to his like crap there. But I got lucky there, was able to do a heat action, and then boom. Hayashi is cooled down. Alright, so this is a little group fight you do when you're going through the level Majima was in Yakuza 1, and this is an awful fight. So I instead use this wonderful item that's not in Kiwami 2 called the Asaka water. That's not what it's called, but I don't know how to pronounce it right now. But pretty much what it does, it slows down time. So, like, let me run down why this like group fight is so awful. Okay, so you have two gun enemies, so you need to constantly have your eye on them so that you don't get shot. And then you have a normal goon, you know, he's not too big of a deal. He just kind of adds some complications to the room. And now, the worst enemy in the game, which I made sure to get rid of in the beginning, is this dude with the knife. Because what I think they've done here is they copied Jingu and his bodyguards from Yakuza 1. So, if you think, oh, the gun guys are dangerous because they can attack you from a distance, better take them out first. If you do that, that knife guy will go all like a Ninja Raiden on you and start like doing mad dashes and start slashing at you from like across the room. It's insane. You definitely want to get rid of that guy first because he is actually the biggest danger if left unaccounted for. But besides that, this fight sucks, and that's why I don't really want to like revisit it ever again. Thank you. Alright, now this is a pretty cool fight, which Kiwami 2 neutered by removing the rain and thunder from the area. So now, the big thing with this fight is that the main guy with the sword, if you get to him first, you can combo endlessly. However, you know, you got the crowd, and the crowd will probably interrupt you before you can like completely combo him. However, once he gets into his attack pose there, his attacks come out immediately. There is no real like there's no real prompting him. There's no real like forcing him to do his attacks. He'll just hit you first. So pretty much what you want to do is like, you know, make him do his attack first and then attack, but that's extremely difficult once he gets into that attack pose. However, my boy Daigo's a G, so like at some point my boy Daigo will help me out with this fight. You'll see later on. Alright, here's the guy that wants to sleep with your mother. It's Shindo. Now, this is a pretty rad fight. And, yeah, it's a pretty rad fight. I really like it. So, pretty much the main thing with this guy is, like, he's a pretty simple fight. Pretty much same deal as the guy from before. His attacks come out immediately, so you definitely, like, want to avoid that. However, one funny thing is that whenever you grab, like, something from the world to, like, hit him with, he either gets aggressive or he gets sassy. I'll explain what I mean by sassy later on. That's in the third phase of the fight. But like aggressive, like once I picked up the couch, he immediately went to attack. However, I can block with the couch, which meant I can block with the couch, which means I was able to get an advantage first. So, all right, I'm mumbling my words. I'm not really speaking English at the moment, but. Alright, so main thing with Shindo is that he's got a few combos. So he has like a 2-hitter, which you can dodge the second hit and then hit him behind. However, the main way I like to hit him is wait for him to get into a blocking pose, hit him once, dodge to the left, and then full combo. It's clear, it's consistent. However, he doesn't do it as much on hard mode. When I was playing the game on normal, he constantly blocked. He was extremely defensive, but once you get into hard mode, I guess since the group enemy AI has gotten more aggressive, so have the bosses. So this guy is always getting into attack mode, which I hate. because you can't really deal with it. Look at that, boom, fast, immediate. If I got any closer to him, I would have died. I mean, you can deal with it per se, but it's not ideal. I would much prefer he just kept blocking on and on. Like, I just wish he was way more indecisive. Like, there we go, that's the block pose I want. Once he goes into that, then it's a free game, really. Oh, and something I forgot to mention is, so like Shindo goes through the boss fight, like transports you to like different areas and all that, right? Well, funny thing I learned about that is there's a health cap for that. Once you like take Shindo's health down to a certain point, he transitions to another area. However, if you get his health down lower than that certain point, like, do you see that little yellow like thing there? Like, I got his blue health bar down a little bit, but once we transition to that next area, that blue health bar is going to be full. So you can't really cheat the system per se. There is no skipping phases of the fight. You're going to fight him with all the health they want you to have at that exact moment. And yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I prefer the boss fight to be longer. I like those kind of like long, drawn out things. But yeah, it's just kind of there. Alright, so this is what I mean by Shindo being sassy. Alright, so I'm going to pick up the boulder here, and I want to do a heat action on him. However, once I get close to him, he starts laughing. He starts laughing because he's in an attack pose, so if I get any closer to him, he'll just immediately strike me down. I won't really have a chance to react. So, like, he knows that I want to hit him with that boulder, but he's not going to let me do it. But I can just throw it and incapacitate him, so there's that. You know, I mean, I guess the guy who wants to sleep with your mother is a little bit of a sarcastic fellow. But what can you do? And now here we transition to Shindo's cinematic, feature-length QTE section. Like, this takes forever, and it's so pointlessly drawn out. Like, I don't know, are these sword moves even real? It just looks like they're play fighting. I don't know, I'm quite happy that Kiwami 2 like shortened it way down and made everything a lot snappier. Like, this just kind of goes on forever. It's just like boom, bop, smash the button, and then whoa, it's just so wavy. I can't stand it. I mean, it's not as long as like Judge Eye's final boss QT. Like, that is like a straight on like film, but that was way better choreographed anyways too. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to stick with Judge Eyes on that one. Shindo is dead, but not really, because he shows up later in the fight. Watch this. First time through, that got me and I died, and I was very mad. However, this time I'm actually able to hit him with the sofa, so you know, it's all good. Just a quick addition to Shindo, kind of shows that he doesn't like to give up, he wants to follow his dreams, he really wants to get together with Daigo's mother, and well, that's not happening anymore. Yeah, so these next couple of fights are just kind of like random, like nothing fights that happened in between some of the real fights that are about to come up. But I thought I'd include them just because they do show up in the main story. So this guy, man, this guy stole some tattoos. It's not, that's not cool. But these guys are just kind of goons. There's no real strategy to them. Just beat them up. Oh wait, there's one thing. You don't really need to beat up the other two goons. You just need to beat up the main guy. Once you beat up the main guy, the fight's over. And now, watch out. Here comes Arigato. Alright, so like this guy is also kind of a goon, but there is some strategy to him because he can be dangerous if you don't know what to if you don't know what you're doing. He kind of has the same thing Hayashi has, that once you lower his health bar down to a certain point, he becomes invincible. Like right there, he becomes invincible. You can't really stagger him, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. And the way I do that is by heat actions and by using these items. Heavy damage, breaks block, and then boom, block, heat action, over. Also, this is not in Kiwami 2. And oh boy, here we go, it's the Jingweon. This fight is also awful, because not only is it a group fight, but all the enemies can throw projectiles. And the thing about projectiles in this game is that they are massive. Like, all the knife projectiles, I swear, they're like a yard long. It's ridiculous, like, how much range they cover. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the grabs like iframes in order to not take damage from the knives. However, I'm not even sure that's consistent, because sometimes I swear, like, those knives go through it. And now here I kind of grab one of the stuff from the environment in order to block this guy's attacks, because this guy loves to throw those knives. And also I noticed that Joe Amon stole this guy's animations for his grenades. And well, I mean, both are awful, but you know. But yeah, right now, like this Kaoru here is actually being a straight G, because you don't actually get to see it, but she straight up killed the other guy over there, which completely got rid of the room. And you know, I gotta thank her. She was being super useful in this fight. I probably would not have been able to win this if not for her. So yeah, dope AI. And I threw that. There was no strategic reason for why I threw that. I just panicked. Oh boy, it's Hiroshima. So this guy, same deal as Arigato. Once you get his health down to a certain point, he goes into an invincible state, and we do not want to deal with that. However, one thing of note is look how massive this area is. Like, bruh, like Yakuza 2 was made in less than a year, so they really used up all of their assets. Like, hey, we made a golf field for our golf minigame. Let's just use it for a battle arena too for one of our bosses. Like, aight, cool. Like, I'm just in awe of all the way Yakuza finds ways to... I'm just in awe of the way Yakuza reuses assets. It's so smart, so clever. I love it. But anyways, yeah, this fight, there really isn't much to it. Just kind of, you know, watch out for his Hayashi phase, and that's about it. Now here I'm only going for like 1 or 2 hits just because, well, look how fast he reacts, just like you don't really have time to do anything else. But it works out in the end. He's over. And now here we go, we gotta beat up the purple guy, who used to be our friend, but now wants us dead for money. Oh well, so yeah, this group fight is a little annoying, but not the worst in the game. You do have some ways to deal with it, however, the most annoying aspect is just these heavies. Because, weird thing about Yakuza 2, its QTEs suck, especially the ones where you have to mash something. Like, if you try to mash circle to throw some of the heavy guys, it will not work. It will not work. It's almost impossible to do so. I don't know if it's because of the emulator or the game itself, because on the HD collection and the emulation here, I am playing an emulated version right now. It's impossible. So you want to get rid of the heavies first, and given that you're right next to the river, you can just immediately KO them with a heat action, which is nice. But now we're stuck with light guys, and I'm playing it safe here just because I've died so many times. I swear I spent like an hour on this section alone. Wait, probably over an hour, so I'm just kind of playing it safe with throws because I know those gives me iframes. Wait for the attack, go for a throw. Don't want to really play anything too risky here. And now it's that bald guy who we gave him a Jong thing on his tile, on his head. This guy, he's like Daigo. He can't do anything to you, so just beat him up and make him suffer. Oh god. The tigers. This fight is terrible, and I'll explain why. Okay, so, like, it's cool that you're fighting tigers. Like, you know, Yakuza 2 has gotta be a bigger, better sequel than Yakuza 1. So, you know, I mean, you got the tiger drop, make them fight tigers, you know? Rad. What's not rad is that Yakuza 2's combat is not designed to fight these things. Like, it's such a gimmick battle. You can't really deal with these guys effectively. Like, this is the longest fight in the game, and it's only because these tigers don't really have any sure openings that won't result in damage. Like, even that was a tight save. I had to dodge immediately. Like, when they're together, this roar is a good time to attack them, but even then, it's a tight, like, opening. You really got to take advantage of it. You got to be on the lookout for that, or else you're just going to end up taking damage once they start, like, running at you. So yeah, this is going to be a really long fight, and the strategy here is very simple. Just kind of abuse that until you have one left. So I don't know, I guess I'll go on a bit of a tangent on another project. So yeah, I don't know, ever since I released the Kiwami rant video, I don't know, there's a few things I like to clear up. I don't know, while doing the Kiwami rant video, I did a replay of Kiwami 2, and honestly, I've kind of come like a little less harsh on the game. I don't know. There's a lot of aspects I've come to appreciate a bit more. I don't know, I did a run without upgrading my health or heat, and that kind of added a lot of challenge that was missing if you just upgraded yourself normally. And, I don't know, I found a few more things to appreciate. I don't know, just, the game's not as bad as like I was making it out to be. However, I do still have a ton of issues with it, mostly from like the story and presentation wise. However, there is one positive I've noticed about Kiwami 2 and when compared to Yakuza 2 is that most of the beat 'em up levels are improved. I don't know, like replaying Yakuza 2 recently, notably the Amano building, the Majima level, and the final level, and the car chase are all better in Kiwami 2 per se. They just make it a lot more like elaborate, a lot more like colorful in that game, and you know, I appreciate that. However, you know, the Kiwami 2 still has like its combat system, so you know, well, I mean, they were close, but oh well. I don't know, one thing I miss about Yakuza 2 and Kiwami 2 is that you can't make the tigers bounce like that anymore. You know, such a shame. Oh yeah, another weird little tangent, but these tiger models. So for PS2 standard, For PS2 standards, I don't know, these tigers look kind of good. I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm blind, or maybe I haven't seen any better tigers, but like for PS2, this looks like a pretty good PS2 tiger. I don't know, it's got a little bit of dead eye, but whatever. However, the tigers in Kiwami 2 kind of look awful. Like for PS4 standards, that is a terrible tiger. Like, I don't know if you've seen the tigers in Kiwami 2, but they look terrifying just from how bad they are. This one looks okay. It's not the best, but I don't know, it looks alright. And now here I have them isolated. I have one tiger. So now when you only have one tiger, they don't really do the roar anymore. So you missed one of your best openings to attack. Now the only real opening you have is when they do a dash forward or when they do like a full combo thing. But even then, those aren't sure. I'm pretty sure I won out of sheer luck, because like even when they do like the dash, they might do a quick attack, they'll screw you over, but they didn't with this one. So, you know, I got lucky like that. Like that, I used that chance to attack, but I'm not even sure if like that's actually an opening. I think I might have been able to like die at that point. Now, ideally, I would use the spear to take down the tigers because it has a wider range and I can get out of it quicker. However, the thing with these tigers is that in order to like activate their field the heat thing where you tiger drop them, you have to knock them into the air. And the only way to do that is with your combos, with your square 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 triangle, or with your square 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 triangle one. Either the 3 squares in triangle or the 4 squares in triangle. That's the only way to really knock them into the air. You need to do that, I believe, either 4 or 5 times in order to knock them into like that tiger drop state, which is very important because that is one of the most useful skills against this like ferocious beast. And yeah, I did also learn that from a speedrun. I don't know, I mean, I don't know, speedruns are cool. I mean, looking at speedruns of games you know, honestly kind of brings to light a lot of its mechanics and all that. I don't know, it's been fun. There aren't that many Yakuza 2 speedrunners though. I swear there's only like 3 or 4 because, well, I don't know, Kiwami 2 has taken more of the limelight, and, well, the Majima Saga has taken more of the limelight, given that it's very easy to like go into, given that it's only like 20 minutes long. But then again, I mean, nothing wrong with that. You know, if you gotta start somewhere, you gotta start somewhere. The Majima Saga is a pretty neat way to get into speedrunning, given, you know, it's not too much commitment and all that. But you know, I would like to see some more Yakuza 2 speedruns. But hey, maybe there's like a whole underworld I haven't explored just because the game's like kind of underground and all that. Now, something even more underground is Kurihio, like those PSP Yakuza games. I swear, I mean, I'm pretty sure no one has speedrun them. I mean, it'd be cool to see someone do it, but maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think anyone has. Alright, Man in Black. So nothing really different from his first fight, except that he's easier here because you don't have to deal with the QTEs with the crates. However, here I like to demonstrate Yakuza 2's most broken heat action, the ground pound when you're on red health. This is what makes a low damage or low health run like this possible. Look at this. See, it has no stop. Like, pretty much once the heat bar goes down, it'll stop. However, look at that. It's going down incredibly slowly. You can just keep pounding and pounding on him until that thing goes down. It is unstoppable. You can take out nearly like 75% of like an entire health bar like that. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful damage. I think the reason that like Yakuza 3 nerfed the damage so much was because of stuff like this. Just kind of like I don't know how to say it, the word escaped me. over concentrate. Pretty much they did it because Yakuza 2 damage. They did it because Yakuza 2's damage was so high, so they made Yakuza 3's damage really low. No one liked that, so they made every other game afterward have really high damage. And yeah, so anyways, here's the gun boss. Now this guy is painful. I don't like this fight, but however, there are ways to deal with it. So pretty much you kind of want to like tunnel these guys, because what you want to do is pretty much just take out the goons and the Jingweon gang here, because once you have the gun guy by himself, he's not hard. It's like I said before, his moveset is really easy to read. However, when you have 4 guys interrupting you, it's really hard to actually get a hit on that guy with the gun. And if you try to go for the goons first, then the guy with the gun will just shoot you when you're not looking. It's really hard to deal with. However, I use the game's furniture here to good effect, pretty much kind of blocking the hits and all that. And here he's kind of shooting, but I can't really see him, so I got scared. But you know, I'm alive, so it's all good. And yeah, grabs are also good here because grabs have that iframe and all that. And a wonderful thing is you can also grab the gun guy, so you can also use him for your iframe hoarding. So yeah, now it's going to be a pretty rote fight. Just kind of bait out the attacks and then retaliate. And nothing much more to it. Yeah, well, it is pretty rote. Watch out, they might pull out some sneaky ones like that. And here's another example of Yakuza 2 using every new area it makes for battle. Like, you know, it's like, oh, Kage is now a police informant. He has his place in the Millennium Tower. Alright, cool. So they use that for story purposes and for this fight. Very nice. Alright, so now these next couple of fights are the Go Ryu Clan Invasion, which ended up being a pretty low-scale event given that they were invading Kamurocho, but oh well. So here I'm not really using much strategy, I'm just kind of flailing at them and hoping I don't get hit, and I don't, which is very nice. So yeah, this first fight is not that hard. The second fight kind of ups the difficulty a bit, but I found a way to deal with it. Alright, so here is the conundrum. So we got 3 dudes. 2 of them are oh no. No. So we got 3 dudes. One of them is a light guy, and 2 of them are heavies. So the issue with heavies is that I'm pretty sure both of them can go into Hayashi's invincible mode. And so you pretty much want to get rid of them as fast as possible. I did a heat action on that guy just so that that guy would not ruin my life, because you know, 2 invincible guys in the same room, it's just, you can't deal with it. That would be impossible. So, you know, just take out that guy first, and now go for the throws of the light guy, hoard those iframes, take him out as quickly as possible, go for the heat action, and now once you're alone with this guy, he's a lot more manageable. Now, grabs are also very hard to break out of, so if you get stuck in there, mash for dear life, or else you're screwed. And now, you know, the bench kind of interrupts his phase, so he doesn't really go into invincible mode yet, and boom, it's over. Alright, now this is the worst fight in the entire game. This fills me with such hatred, such rage. I've spent over 3 hours trying to no damage this, that the reason that I actually succeeded this time was just because I used the payback ring. Now the payback ring is a very wonderful item where the lower your health is, the higher damage you do. So pretty much, given that I'm in the red, it pretty much doubles my damage. So the reason I did that was just to cut down on the tedium, because the strategy here is just kind of to like run a train on them, because you can actually go up the stairwells and meet up with Ryuji there, which I didn't know you could do. I think Kiwami 2 removed the option to go up the stairwell. And yeah, Kiwami 2 actually made some weird additions to the arena too. Like, I don't know, Yuya's body is on a couch here, while in Kiwami 2 they put him on the floor, and he kind of becomes an obstacle you can't deal with. However, this rooftop here also gives you access to an insta-kill heat action, which you want to do to the two heavies, because those two heavies have Hayashi's invincible mode. And those two heavies, mixed with 3 other guys which want to kill you, make for an unbearably impossible fight. So yeah, and also another thing that was always annoying with this fight is that if you try to like take out the heavies with this insta-kill heat action, one of the light guys will show up first just because they're faster. But here, things are going nice and smoothly because I was able to take out the light guys faster because of my double damage. But yeah, this fight is terrible. I hate it. I never want to play it again. God save the queen. Oh yeah, here's another terrible fight that I used the payback ring with. So yeah, I hated their fight in the beginning, but now you have more space. That's good, but now they have more health. That's bad. The fight is way more tedious now. So I used the payback ring for that double damage, which I used to good effect. Just look at that. Boom, 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 boom. It's over. But not yet. So yeah, the strategy here is... well, actually, there is no strategy. Like I said, it is a struggle to take these guys out. However, you do have these neon signs where when you hit them, it stuns them with electricity, which is very useful for cornering them. And then you go into the heat action, which kind of brings the one guy down. Now, pretty much the ideal strategy here is just take one of them out so that you can easily deal with the other one. Because pretty much when these two guys are together, they're very hard to deal with. But when one of them is alone, they're piss easy. So just... take that one guy out like that and boom, the fight is pretty much like done and over with. You just kind of continue the same combo over and over again and he can't really react to it. So, but yeah, be careful though, because you know he might hit you with like a grab or like with the combos. Just make sure you hit first so that you can win. Alright, so we're back to Man in Black, except this time we're in an elevator and it looks epic. The fight still sucks, but you know, it's got more cinematic flair now. So yeah, I don't really got much to say. I think I said everything I can about Man in Black. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know, there is one weird thing. In Kiwami 2, he actually has most of his original moveset. Like, he has a few new moves from that gun guy in Yakuza 3, and some original moves of his own, but for the most part, he is the same exact fight as the original, except, you know, you have Kiwami 2's combat system, which, you know, complicates everything, and Kiwami 2's, like, design, which, once again, complicates everything. But yeah, it's the same fight. Both suck, but it's the same fight. Okay, so we're finally back to a fight that's actually good ever since Bloody Shindo. I don't know, weird thing about Yakuza 2 is that its boss fights kind of peak in the middle with like Hayashi and Shindo, and it doesn't get like really good until this section right here. But yeah, this fight's really dope. This may be my favorite version of Ryuji, as in my favorite fight out of the 3 you have with him, because it's like the most it's not the most challenging, but it's like the right balance of variety and challenge. So pretty much Ryuji here has 2 phases. So the first one here is just this beginning phase where he doesn't attack. You can go in for a quick like triple square triangle combo, and I add a little flair to it by doing a grab combo just for like the style. Very cool, very nice. So yeah, I don't know, it's just a very quick, very speedy fight. I don't know, it just keeps you on your toes. It's what I like about Yakuza. And it has some flair to it. The second phase I'll get into once we get there. I do have some complaints though, like the camera hates you, it wants you dead, it wants your family buried, it wants you gone, and yeah, it's just miserable to deal with. Another thing is that the camera mixed with Ryuji's wide swings means that you will take damage all the time. I swear, this dude's sword reaches like halfway across the map. The hitboxes are extremely strange. And also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but Yakuza 2's QTEs kinda suck ass. The reason for this is that they don't really have the clear indicator of like when you're supposed to hit it that Yakuza 3 has, and they just kind of pop up. However, one neat thing about them is that they don't change. The QTEs remain consistent, so once you know the button combination, you can just spam that button until it shows up and then you'll get it. So, you know, I mean, they still suck, but at least that cuts down on the tedium, because I swear this game would be impossible if they like switched up the button combinations on random like the future games do. It would be hell. Alright, so here I'm doing a similar thing to what I did in the Hayashi fight, where pretty much Ryuji, once he reaches like halfway to his like blue bar, he goes into his feel the heat moment. But what I want to avoid his second phase as much as possible, so I do that little ground pound to get him down to his yellow health, so I do way more damage to him, so I have to deal with his second phase less. Ideally, I would have wanted him dead, but that doesn't happen. But oh well, what can you do? So yeah, the issue with his second phase is the same as Hayashi. He is invincible, so you can't really do any combos on him. The only way to really do damage is to grab him from behind and like hit him with a light grab combo. Which, you know, once he has that low health, that, you know, it ain't a problem. But, you know, if I didn't do that trick in the beginning, then I would have a way bigger issue. Alright, here we go. It's Terada. So yeah, this is a group fight. One of the main guys has a gun. And yeah, it's a wide field, so you can just run away. You can't see him. And it's also one of the easiest fights in the game, surprisingly enough. The reason it's so easy is because Terada's a pretty good sport. Whenever he shoots, he screams like a lunatic to let you know that he is about to fire, which I greatly appreciate. Because something I forgot to mention is that police guy who has the gun, sometimes he doesn't actually like have any sound like trigger to tell you that he's going to shoot. He'll just shoot you sometimes if he's not on camera. And you know, I mean, people like to do that. Realistically, they don't want to know that you're shooting them, but like they could have added like a sound effect to let you know that, oh, he's gonna shoot you. Like, maybe like a gun cocking or something. But it's just straight up silent, so you won't even know that you're about to get shot. But Terada, he screams, so I like that a lot. He's also very slow. Like, I mean, he'll scream, then he'll aim his weapon, then he'll fire. So that gives you enough time to actually combo enemies. You don't have to, like, really do any grab maneuvering. You can just combo them. In fact, abusing grabs for their iframes here is actually a very bad idea because Terada is so slow that once you're done with the combo, that's when he begins shooting. So you're better off just, like, doing these short combos on these enemies to get rid of them. And then once you're one-on-one with Terada, it's very simple. It's like the other gun enemies. You just wait for him to shoot, get behind him, do a combo. However, here it's more tedious because he has more health, and Terada's hitboxes are weird. So yeah, there's that. Way better than his Kiwami 2 fight. Oh my god! The Kiwami 2 version is terrible, because what they did is that Terada has hit scan in that version, and it is hell to deal with. Like, oh, who thought that was a good idea? I'm just thinking about it. It sends shivers down my spine. Like, doing a low-level run of that Terada fight in Kiwami 2 was hell. I mean, I'm just glad the Yakuza 2's version is so much easier. Because, just terrible. So yeah, this fight, it's easy, it's tedious, but it does have a kick-ass theme, which is gone in Kiwami 2, like most of the music from the original. You know, I really like it. I think it was composed by, it's the same guy who composed Snake Eater, which is pretty awesome. Like, quite a lot of Yakuza 2's music is composed by that guy, which, you know, Kiwami 2 removed, because, you know, it's a remake, it should remove more things than it adds. And it should add stuff from the other games instead of adding stuff from its own game it's remaking, but oh well. I don't hate the Kiwami games. I've actually platinumed the Kiwami one just because, I don't know, just felt like it because I've already done 0. And I don't know, so far I've platinumed the Yakuza 2, Yakuza 0, and Kiwami 1. Next one, I have no idea because I'm not sure when I'm going to get back into Yakuza. I am really excited for that remastered collection though, and I am extremely excited for Yakuza 7. That game looks amazing, which is a bit of a weird opinion to have from a Yakuza fan, given that it's turn-based and not the standard like combat from the series. But once again, I don't know, the Dragon Engine has been very disappointing, so you know, I'm all for this new change if it means they avoid doing combat again. But, you know, I mean, not to... But however, Judgment did improve the combat quite a lot. So, you know, I mean, they definitely could go somewhere with it. But, you know, I've played the demo of Yakuza 7, and that turn-based combat is smooth. I'm going to avoid the Japanese release and wait for an English release just because it's a turn-based game. I just hope it's not too far away because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But, like, everyone's posting scenes from that game, and I don't want to see it. Like, I really don't. I want to, like, experience that for myself when I first pick it up. Please. Please don't spoil Yakuza 7 for me. Yeah, so anyways, the final boss of the game. This is the hardest fight, and it's just because I'm not using the Tiger Drop. The reason I'm not using the Tiger Drop is because it's kind of finicky. Like, I don't know, like, with some practice I could make it work, but, like, it's finicky, and I don't really like using it. And plus, I kind of wanted to do a strategy which didn't involve it. However, that strategy is extremely, like it makes your heart beat. Because here's what I do. Okay, so Ryuji here is completely invincible throughout the entire fight. And by invincible, I mean if you attack him with more than 2 hits, he'll retaliate. He has a retaliation for anything you do to him, except for this. Pretty much grab him from behind, do a leg grab combo, stomp, build up your heat. Once you have him on the ground and you have heat, do one of the large beating things, which takes a ton of health. However, I forgot to mention this about that ground pound attack. It's like you have to mash square to do it, but the way you'd have to do it is extremely finicky. You have to mash that thing for dear life or it will not register. And it's the same thing on this emulated version and on the HD collection. Like, they want you to, like, suffer with your hand. Like, I swear, I had to, like... it's painful. Like, my heart is beating fast when I'm doing this. Like, it's not like the future games you can just tap it normally because they actually consider, like, your rights. No, Yakuza 2 does not consider your rights. It wants you dead. It wants you buried. It is a fun game, though, so, you know, I mean, no problem with that. But I do actually really like this fight, though, because I think it really communicates, like, the feel of this fight. These are, like, 2 gorillas just ruthlessly beating each other. It's not like a skilled, like fit person, like, I don't know, like a Yakuza 3's boss fight who's very quick and speedy. No, this guy is slow but powerful. He is an immovable wall, and you have to beat it down with your bare fist, slamming your forehead against it. You pretty much have to slam your head against the wall to break it down. So yeah, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like the kinesthetics of the game communicate well, or whatever the hell video theory essay thing I could, like, put here. I don't know, but it's a good fight, and I love the theme. I don't know, it just has a really mellow, sorrowful tone to it. And if I wasn't doing no damage, then I'd probably appreciate it more. But, you know, no damage, it's kind of a tedious drag. But, I mean, won't lie, I was definitely, like, my heart, like, skipped a beat when I actually managed to, like, beat it. Because I swear, this took me, like, 4 hours, which is insane. This is probably the longest I took to, like, do a challenge. Part of that might be that this is probably one of the longest boss fights in the game, but also part of that's just that it's extremely hard. Oh yeah, and also weird thing. So yeah, Hayashi has 6 health bars, which is the most amount of health bars out of any enemy in the game. Here's the thing though, his health bar is different. You can deal more damage to him with a heat action than Ryuji here. Like Ryuji only has 3 health bars, but they're way sturdier health bars. So like a hit there, like he takes less damage from you than Hayashi did. So yeah, this fight, like I don't know, I mean I have to calculate it more, but like this is a longer fight than Hayashi. Now, the longest fight in the games is Shindo and the Tigers. Shindo just because you have to run around to get to him, while the Tigers is just because there aren't really that many openings, so you can't really deal much damage most of the time unless you want to die. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, this is probably still one of my favorite like final boss fights in the series. Definitely like a great improvement over Nishiki. However, I do think I prefer Nishiki's theatrics more. Now, that's another great thing about Yakuza 2. That most of its boss fights kind of have a theatrical element to them. I don't know, because like it's pretty like Yakuza 2 is kind of where Yakuza started to come into its own and all that. And while Yakuza 1 is good, most of its boss fights are lame as hell. Like there are some standouts like Lao Kong. Like he was a pretty cool fight, and Nishiki like had like a good emotional backing to him. But most of them kind of suck. Like you have the dancers in the club. It's just kind of like alright, they're dancers in the club, like cool, and they're just kind of like nobodies. While Yakuza 2, most of its fights have a lot more flavor to them, which then future Yakuza games will like take advantage of as well. And it's kind of why I love these boss fights so much. But yeah, anyways, yeah, here we go. Here's the big punch. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of felt like making this video. I don't know, just wanted to play some Yakuza 2 and kind of show y'all that, you know, no damaging all the boss fights while never upgrading your health is possible. Like, I don't know, I fully maxed out my technique and heat, like, upgrade trees, but I have not maxed out the body tree at all. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time whenever I make another video. I don't really have any plans right now, but yeah, peace out.